It's 2:00. I'm Olive Martini, and you're tuned to the Working on Wellness Radio Forum that we do once a month through the education program of the Dungeness Valley Health and Wellness Clinic, SQM's free clinic. And my guest today is Barb Paschal. She's a retired physical therapist, and she's going to be talking today about how invaluable exercise is for your heart. So, Barb, thanks for coming. Tell us a little bit about you. You're a retired physical therapist, and our listeners would like to know just how you've been doing this for a while.
Yes, thanks, Olive. I was a physical therapist for 33 years, and I've been a volunteer in SQM, sometimes even PA and Port Townsend, for 22 years, trying to help people understand the importance of exercise and the joy of it and the potential that all of you have, no matter what age, no matter how many pre-existing conditions, and especially how you can exercise at home, because on days like today, a lot of people don't get out, and then our health needs us every single day, not just 3 times a week. That's kind of become a customary thought, a myth, because many classes in town at different gyms and the Y, etc., are offered 3 times a week. People think that's enough. It's never enough. Our body is a wonderful, wonderful thing, but it needs our help every single day. And so you don't want to deep breathe 3 times a week. You don't want to brush your teeth 3 times a week. You don't want to drink water 3 times a week. Every single day, your body needs you to refresh and build it and boost it. And it's totally possible and fun.
And you were here last year, and one of the things that I liked that you talked about was when you're watching television, get up and move during the commercials. And so we've got this taped today, which you'll be able to see when you go on the SQM on the SQM Free Clinic's website at sqmfreeclinic.org. And you can see Barb. She's going to be standing and doing some exercises today, so you can kind of see she's going to be moving the whole time during this interview. So you don't want to miss going on and seeing the video. So show us a little bit how you move.
Okay, and let me just say, if I could, that the reason why I'm holding this ball, and I just bought it today at Walmart, to show you how interconnected everything is in our body. It's difficult to talk about building bone, which is really important, without talking about building muscle. And you don't just build muscle in your arms and legs and your core. And I do want to say that most people think about the core as your abs, and your core is everything in the middle of you that and is connected to your arms and legs. But there are hundreds of muscles connected to every single vertebrae, up and down from your neck, from the bottom of your skull, down to your pelvis, and as well as the abs. And they are interconnected with the muscles connected to your vertebrae. So everything is connected, just like this baseball and the stitching is connected. And so I will divide this into several different categories, but just remember that one enhances the other. And so the first thing is to realize that everyone has a small space, and I'll show you some things that you can do as exercise in a small space at home. You don't need a big gym. You don't need to buy machines. You can, if you want, to buy a bicycle or a treadmill, etc., etc. But you just need a small space, but you need to do it every single day, aerobically, 20 to 30 minutes non-stop. In a row, 20 to 30 minutes every single day. Everybody should do that, as well as what they're now calling exercise snacks. So that means a little bit every day, all day long. You want to cross over, I call it. So I teach a class at Shipley. I'll just give them a little plug here, between 11:30 and 12:30 every Tuesday. And we have a lot of fun doing it, and people are getting stronger and more balanced and more flexible. So try crossovers. Really good for all the above, what I just said: strength, balance, range of motion, flexibility, and then can. So we kick our feet up as much as you can. If some of these things are too difficult, then you do the next one. And so moving sideways, but you want to do wingspan. So make everything you do effective. So it wouldn't be very effective to just sort of move side to side. Stretch out your arms, stretch out your legs, really move, and you will feel so much better. You know, a lot of times we think about when we're not feeling quite energetic or not as happy as we wish we would, we think about comfort food. My funny little drawing of a sundae here is typical. We tend to reach for comfort food. What I'm going to ask you today is to think of exercise as comfort, because truly, if you want less pain, more strength, more ability to do anything you want to do, but also with your family and loved ones, your friends, you need to have strength and balance and endurance, and all of these things happen with exercise and your heart. So back to your heart. If we don't have strong enough muscles, so muscles not only occur in your core and your arms and your legs, but also your heart, kind of about this size. Your heart is a muscle. And also, all the little bronchioles in our lungs are lined with muscle. So we need to build all of them. And if they are not strong enough, it's like so if your body is your car and your heart is your motor, and you don't have strong muscles because you haven't worked on it and you've been sitting too much, it's like my balloons are like 4 flat tires on the car. So your motor, your heart, might still be able to drag you forward throughout your day. But think of the work, the extra work you are putting on your heart. So you will help your heart to blow up those tires, to build up those muscles, to ingest all the oxygen that you possibly can. And what makes more oxygen occur in your body? How do you deep breathe? Just taking a deep breath a few times, people do that. But what really brings in the oxygen? Exercise. So get out of your chair, and when we sit and we're when we have poor posture, we actually collapse our lungs. They actually cannot take in the oxygen we need. And what needs the oxygen? Your brain and your entire body. But if you want better memory, exercise. So
tell us the 7 ways that exercise can help your heart.
Okay. So first, like we said before, building muscle, building bone. You have to have strong bones for your heart to not drag you around on those flat tires. And you have to have good muscles. And you need, your heart needs oxygen intake. And when you're just sitting, even though you're doing something good, like reading, or talking with your friends or loved ones, you are not getting much oxygen, very shallow breathing, not much that goes in, and our body needs a lot. And so every time you can think of it, if you go down the hall to get your sweater, really vigorously go down the hall. Walk briskly, not just when you walk for your exercise. Make every move that you do exercise. Okay, and then it also boosts, so exercise boosts our immune system, which is very important for the heart because it needs to have a healthy body and not be full of flus and colds. And if you do have a surgery, you need strong immune system. Your heart needs you to build your immune system so that it can heal more quickly. Otherwise, you are basically putting way too much on your heart. You're asking too much of it, and we all want a good, strong heart. Okay, and also, so we need to, exercise will help us with weight control. 75% now of the U.S. is overweight or obese, 75%. And 33% of children. Now that actually includes teens, so it's not just little tiny children, but they have estimated that 33% of children are overweight or are obese. And what is the best way to start losing weight? Exercise. It isn't just food and all the other sorts of things that you can get from your doctor, but exercise is prime. In fact, if you go to any website for any problem with the body, first is higher level of activity, which is exercise. People seem to veer away from the word. I love the word. Exercise is fun. Anyway, so we need to lose weight. And being overweight, why is that hard on your heart? Well, it's like your car. Okay, your body is your car and your heart is your motor. And then if you put a trailer on your car with heavy furniture in the trailer, your poor heart has to carry all that extra weight. Or it's just like having an adult that you're carrying on your shoulders. It's way too much on your heart. So the best thing you can do is exercise for your heart, and it will help you lose weight. And consequently, it helps your blood pressure. And so as your heart is able to not work as hard, your blood pressure will go down. A lot of people tell me, oh, I don't worry about my blood pressure. My doctor's got me on pills. I'm fine. It's under control. Well, if you're not working on a better diet, more exercise, you're the one in control. And so you're not really controlling it as much as you can. And so you really want to work on it for that. Also, your brain, your heart needs your brain to be alert and capable and good at memory and good at clear thinking. And all of that happens best with exercise. The quickest way to improve your memory and to think more clearly is to get out of the chair and to walk with vigor, even in your house, and moving along. And so do exercise snacks as well as 30 minutes moderate aerobics. The other direction happens too, Olive, is that if in fact you only exercise kinda, you sort of do things, or you're busy. A lot of people tell me, well, I'm busy, Barb. Well, I am too. And I still exercise. And the point is, it has to be vigorous, and you want to use as many limbs as possible, and you want to be in core alignment. When you're in core alignment, that's really what I grew up with, great posture. And so when you're in core alignment, you are able to use the muscles and your bones and your entire body best. When we're kind of slumped over, we only kind of use those parts. We don't really use them 100% to help your heart. And so if you're only exercising a little and you're too busy and it was Christmas, one lady told me the other day, well, it was Christmas. Well, I couldn't exercise those 2 weeks. Well, I did. And yes, you can. And yes, you should, because your heart needs you to every day. Otherwise, you do kind of a downward spiral. Oops. It's supposed to spiral downward. Sorry. Oh, I'm holding the other end. I'm sorry. So otherwise, your body will downward spiral. Your blood pressure will go up. You'll gain weight. You'll feel logy. You'll feel unhappy even. And we lose as we age. I'm getting up there. We lose strength faster than when we were young. And the other thing, so here's some good news about exercise. So we tend to eat too much, and we tend to eat sort of glarpy food. Comfort food is usually kind of glarpy. And it usually becomes belly fat. Now, here's the good news. They have discovered that when you exercise and when you lose weight, the very first fat we lose is belly fat. Yay! And it's the most dangerous, of course. And so, let's see. I think I've covered all of those parts. And a very important part is that exercise helps your heart by calming your your inner balance. Okay, and so our adrenal glands tend to shoot cortisol, which is like adrenaline, as we worry, as we become anxious, if we're fearful, if we're sad, if we're tense, then the adrenal glands get very busy and shoot out cortisol, which is not cortisone. It's a natural substance, basically, and goes through your entire body, and it actually impedes the hippocampus from remembering. So, and it also makes your blood pressure go up, makes your heart work too hard, and so the other thing that exercise does is helps your inner balance, and so it helps you be more thankful, more serene, more calm, and realize what you need to do, and clears your mind. So exercise is fun, and make it fun. That's the thing about it, is you can make it happen.
This is the Working on Wellness Radio Forum, and my guest in the studio today is Barb Paschal. She's a retired physical therapist, and we're talking about exercise being essential for your heart. And Barb, while we were playing that song, you were telling us a little story about one of your classes that you do this in.
So I was teaching a class and had everybody, one really important thing for clarifying thoughts in our mind and for improving your memory and calming your inner balance is singing out loud. And the first thing everybody says in the class is, "Oh, I can't sing." Yes, if you spoke, you can sing. It's not how well you sing, it's that you sing. So of course, it's wonderful to listen to good music, but frequently it becomes background, and we actually go on thinking about other things. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's maybe a little bit tense and stressful, as people call it. I hate to overuse the word stress, but we're all used to that. And so I have people sing out loud, and at first they're very tentative, and then we play the song that Olive just played, and we remember the movie, we remember Gene Kelly hanging on to that lamppost and singing, just singing in the rain, and I print out all the words so everybody can sing them. And we did that, and by the time the song was over, everybody was laughing and felt wonderful, and they didn't even think about how well they were singing. And so you want to do that at home too. Sing out loud, write. It's very important to help yourself. Write things down. Write how all the thankful thoughts you can think of. Writing letters but by hand, not on keyboard. They have totally discovered, or we should have known all along, that the input, when you are holding a pen and you're looking down at paper or pencil and actually writing a letter to someone, or writing in your journal, or just writing thankful thoughts, happy thoughts, not just a list to go to Costco. I mean real thoughts. It matters to do it by hand. And the same with sketching. In the classes that I teach, I encourage everybody to sketch. And of course, the first word is, I can't draw. It doesn't matter how well you draw, it's that you do it. And you become immersed in drawing that tree out the window, or even the coffee pot or the teapot on the shelf, and you become immersed in the shape. And that's very important for your heart. And so it is a different kind of exercise, but it's immensely important to calm your heart, to calm your brain.
Do you tell people that there's a particular best time to exercise, or when you should exercise, before or after eating? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Good questions. No, I don't tell people when to exercise, except...
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't she great? Anyway, so if you're going to really do aerobic exercise, same idea as we grew up with. You don't swim, you don't jump in the pool for about an hour. And it really depends on who you are and what you've eaten in particular. So if you've just eaten, an apple you could exercise sooner. But if you've actually had a meal, depending on what kind of meal you're eating, you really need to wait an hour for aerobic exercise. But in the middle of that meal, so say you're going out to a nice restaurant in Sequim, or you're over at your son's house and everybody's talking, get up every half hour. They have found that and just, walk around. And people say, well, I can't do that. What will my family do? Get them to walk around. No spine, not even an 18-year-old spine, your backbone, is built to sit longer than 25 to 30 minutes. But we push it to hours. And then we wonder why we have back pain and weak muscles because we don't get up often enough. And to encourage your loved ones. The class that I teach at Shipley, I gave them an encouragement to lose weight during the Christmas season, and because Shipley was closed for almost 2 weeks, and to encourage somebody in your family or your friends to exercise more and do the things that we do in class in their home. And several did, and one lady lost 3 pounds. And and it's possible to have fun without sitting for hours and without eating too much. So anyway, back to the time, is that we're all different. I'm definitely a morning person, and so I exercise early in the morning, but I wouldn't ask people to do that if that wasn't who they are. But I would recommend that to get going as soon as you can, because the day goes. I make a plan every morning of what I'm going to get done, and I never get half of them done. And so suddenly the time goes. So I do recommend do your 30 minutes as early as possible, maybe before breakfast, but if you're diabetic, you want to do it after because of your insulin level, etc. And so I don't want to tell people when, but you can do exercise snacks, which are really just a minute. And actually, it's Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who happens to be a molecular biologist and teaches classes, but she also is big into exercise. So she coined the phrase exercise snacks. So they can just be just what we did before, moving side to side and back and forth. And I call this one Simone Biles' back step. Remember how she was able to step in the corner of the mat and not step outside. And so I make people in the class do that, and they love it. They go, yay! Does she know we're doing this? Anyway, so it can be simple, but it should be vigorous and fun, and move every limb that you possibly can throughout the day. Maybe 20 times a day is what I do, maybe a minute at a time. I don't exactly time it. I just kind of know when, a minute has passed. And sometimes it's half a minute, sometimes it's 2 minutes. But the idea is that we all like snacking. Why not make exercise your comfort food?
So tell us a little bit about, we've talked about strengthening. Let's talk about stretching.
Could we first talk about strengthening? We actually haven't talked about that specifically.
Let's do that.
Because, it's like I said, it's all connected. So if you are exercising and doing the aerobic exercise I mentioned and the exercise snacks, you are not only building heart muscle and getting more oxygen, but you are also building muscle. And how to build muscle is interconnected with everything we've talked about. But besides doing the aerobic 20 to 30 minutes, you also want to do specific strengthening exercises. Particularly, Olive was just asking about getting up and down from the floor. So the precursor to being able to get up and down the floor, from the floor, and not so much just the floor, just gardening. I mean, half of Sequim are gardeners, and getting up off their, and some people have bought the stools to sit on, but also to get up off the ground. Many people ask me about that. Many people actually stop gardening because they can't get off the ground. And so in my class, I teach people, and I hope you will learn, you want to practice getting on and off of a chair. And I purposely don't have one today, but imagine that you want to get up and down from a chair without momentum. You want to actually be able to lower yourself slowly down to sit and slowly up. And it's much like the plie in ballet. And so slowly down and slowly up. But you do not keep your feet parallel. Okay, if I kept my feet parallel, I would tip forward and back, and I couldn't really bend my ankles and enough. And so you want to part your feet side to side, maybe about 14, 18 inches, depends on your body build. And also put 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, so that the back foot toe is kind of matching the heel of the forward foot. And rotate your hips out. Actually, you'll think you're rotating your feet out, but your feet are actually connected to your hips. And so when you get in that position, that is the maximum use of all the muscles that help you get down to the ground or down to a chair and up from that. And also, they are your keep from falling muscles. So they are your balance muscles. So if you go to suddenly slip and fall, you don't want to just bend over like this. That won't help you. You'll just tumble down on your head. And so you automatically put your arms out for ballast and bend your knees and rotate your hips out for maximum coverage of your body balance. Basically, the center of gravity is in between your legs. I used to be a rehab physical therapist and had to lift people twice my size, twice as tall, who were very handicapped, out of wheelchairs and off of beds and even off of toilets. And I could never pick them up like this. But if you squat down like I learned to do, then you can do amazing things. And basically, you are the weight. You are lifting your weight up and down and building your muscles. So that's one way to get stronger, is to get up and, to answer Olive's question, to get in and out of a chair, but be sure you slide forward in the chair. Don't try to get out of a low, soft couch like I just said, because you're not in the right place at all. Move forward in the chair, move forward in the couch, and get up and down like a ballet dancer would, basically. Like you're created to move like this. I always tell everybody in the class, I don't make this stuff up. This is how we all are created to move. And it works. And you get stronger and stronger, but you have to work on it. And another way to do it, to build your core. A lot of people ask me, how do I build my core? Well, first, realize what your core is. Okay, so your core is your ab muscles, but also, like I mentioned, the hundreds of muscles that are connected to every vertebrae, from the base of your skull, from the top of your neck down. And so surprisingly, to some people, our arms are connected to our core. So if you think about it, I'm going to turn my back on purpose here. So my arms are connecting to my spine. Right? That's where they are. And so we're going to use our arms to help our core. And you can use TheraBand, or what I give to everybody in classes that I teach is I go to Walmart and buy fleece blankets, and then I cut about 10 or 12 of these fleece rings and tie them. And you don't want to pull with your fists like this, because that'll drive your carpal tunnel syndrome up. You want to make a ring and wrap the ring of TheraBand or fleece around your palm, so that the span of those bones is pulling, not your fists, not your carpal tunnel getting inflamed. Okay, and then keep your elbows in and pull outward. Can you see that I am using my arms, which is very important to get stronger arms, but I'm going to turn my back again, if you'll forgive me, and I am moving my shoulder blades closer to my spine. My entire back, hundreds of muscles are working with a simple fleece ring. So for a couple of dollars, you can make these as well, or buy TheraBand. And the actual brand is only available on the peninsula by the yard at Jim's Pharmacy in PA. You can get a reasonable facsimile, but it's not rubber, it's plastic, but at Walmart or Big Five of the band. But if you use the band and then be sure to keep moving while you're using it to maximize your benefit and to force your body to balance while you're using your arms, because that's what we do in real life. So I try to teach exercise as real life. So we don't just, walk around or exercise, we carry things. So you need to be able to be in core alignment and do work with your arms while you are balancing. And there's nothing like practicing. So pretend that's what I'm doing. I'm holding a tray of glasses of lemonade to carry over to my friends, and I need to do this kind of thing. So you just make it fun, but do it. And also, TheraBand or fleece rings are invaluable to help you feel where core alignment is. A lot of people come up and ask me, Barb, am I in good posture? Am I in good posture? Well, I tell them, what you want to try to do, imagine that there is a bowl of water on top of your head and you don't want to spill the water. But remember that good posture and core alignment is dynamic. It's not just a standing still posture. It is actually everything we do. And so, quick way to feel if you're in alignment is to put your band behind you and push down towards the floor and pull out, and immediately everything lines up back there, and the water on top of my head is in the bowl. And then when you let go of the band, your brain says, oh, that's what you wanted. So these are the things I try to teach people. So imagine everything you do when you go into a cupboard to try it from going into Costco. I tell people, I shop at Costco and QFC and Safeway and Walmart, and I'm watching you. And I hope that I see you doing great things. And it's really funny because if I round the corner at one of those stores and one of the people in my class, they always, hi, Barb. They immediately straighten up. They've been doing that for 22 years.
Barb, tell us a little bit about how people can decrease their levels of stress.
Okay. And again, back to something we talked about earlier is that you can feel stress multiple times a day, and another reason why you need to exercise every single day. 3 times a week isn't enough. So if you're worried or fearful or lonely or sad or going through a period of grief, and your blood pressure is up and you're really concerned and you don't quite know what to do, the very best thing is every single day, a couple of times a day even, exercise. And it can be as simple as what we talked about earlier, exercise snacks, just getting up and moving. And why that helps is that your body is programmed. I mentioned earlier about cortisol. So when we are quote unquote stressed or worried or tense, even angry or anxious, then the adrenal glands work overtime, which is really hard on your heart. But if you start moving and laughing, just think of something about that your kids did or your little dog has done, or even an old movie. Like I always think of Lucille Ball and Ethel with the conveyor belt where they were having to eat all those chocolates to keep up with the conveyor belt. It makes me laugh. Or Who's on First with Abbott and Costello. Anyway, the point is laughter, creating something like sketching, writing with a pen in hand, something particularly thankfulness, and exercise all helps to decrease the cortisol, even shut it down. They're able to actually measure that in our bloodstream. And then what happens? Then your brain, actually your pituitary gland, you all thought that you were done with that. Well, actually, your pituitary gland and your hypothalamus produce endorphins. And so I think a lot of people have heard about endorphins being with a runner's high. And they say, well, Barbara, I don't run anymore. No, just exercise, like we were saying, just the exercise snacks and aerobically moving in your house. It can also be brisk walks, but not the slow walk with your dog. I always tell people, I love dogs, but take them on their walk, then put them inside, and then you go out and do a vigorous walk. Or maybe you have an exercycle, maybe you go to the gym or the Y, or maybe something in your garage. We have our treadmill in the garage. I have to put my jacket and my mittens on, but I do it. And anyway, the point is that all of this will help encourage endorphins to flow. Endorphins flow from your brain. They are neurotransmitters, which just means they transmit the joy, basically, throughout your entire body. They actually enhance your mood, they enhance your memory, and enhance your brain clarity, as well as serotonin. And serotonin is primarily manufactured in what they now call your gut. When I grew up, it was never called your gut, it was called your intestines. But anyway, your gastrointestinal system produces serotonin, which is very important. And people tell me, well, you can buy that as a supplement somewhere, can't you? Well, maybe so. I don't know. But the real point is your own body has a natural ability to manufacture serotonin. So why not do that? Why not exercise? And exercise is the key way to make serotonin flow, and it decreases your sense of pain. So it does not change the X-ray findings in your knee. It does not change your vertebrae shape and arthritis. It changes your perception of pain. And serotonin actually can actually erase for a while your perception of the pain, so that, again, everything's connected. When we don't feel as much pain, we are able to move better. So everything's connected. If you move more, you will not feel so much pain. So it's all connected, and it's natural. It's absolutely how you are made to move, how you are made to flow, how you are able to live. And so, endorphins emanate from your brain, from the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus. And so endorphins flow and make you actually feel giddy sometimes, but very happy and very thankful and very capable of doing what you love to do. And that's really, really important. And when you do all those things and you feel less stress, your muscles will be far more relaxed. And when you start to stretch, you'll actually feel that you need less stretching because you are happier and more relaxed. But stretching is really important. So particularly if you're on an exercycle, there's a whole lot of hamstring movement. More power is used bending your knee on an exercycle than straightening. And so they found that you really need to stretch your hamstrings. Today I'm not going to be able to show all that because that's easier to do in a chair or on the floor, but you can look up hamstring stretching. But you also should stretch your calf muscles. It's very important your calf muscles cross the knee and attach to the thigh bone, which is the femur. Your hamstrings cross the back of your knee as well and attach to the tibia, which is sort of like your lower leg bone, they call it. So those muscles can be very tight, particularly when you're sitting on a plane or in a car, or there are a lot of quilters in town. And I have spoken to the wonderful Sunbonnet Sioux Club, and they all shared with me that they have really tight muscles, particularly in the foot that goes on the pedal, which frequently is the right foot, but we all drive with the right leg, and everything gets tight. So, and subsequently, you can have blood clots form in the back of your knee. So it's really important to stretch your hamstrings and your calf muscles. And so I'm going to urge you to look those things up. Everybody looks YouTube things up all the time, and that would be very valuable. As well as one good stretch to do is just what we call long, tall stretch in my class, stretching way up. And boy, does that feel great. Everybody in the class just goes, ah. And it's amazing how much we're the opposite. Okay, and by necessity, we're the opposite. So I'm always busy chopping vegetables and that sort of thing. But then we go opposite, out and up and stretch. And also what I call windmills. So windmills all the way up, not like this. This is just flapping your arms all the way up with your triceps working and your lats, which are back of your arm bone, and all the way down to your pelvis muscle. And then butterfly wings. So imagine that you're a butterfly and draw your butterfly wings. And by so doing, you will stretch immediately and you don't have to lay down on the floor to do it.
That's the backstroke. Right?
Well, actually, that's the backstroke, and I'm like this.
Okay.
But close, very close. Maybe butterflies know how to swim.
What would you like to end with today, Barb? You said you're never too old.
Right. I really want to encourage everybody that no matter that you have a lot of potential, and everybody that I've talked to in the last 22 years plus the 33 when I was actually a therapist, people don't realize how much potential our bodies and our brains have. And no matter how old you are, no matter how many pre-existing conditions you have, and I personally have, so I'm personally almost 79 and have lots of pre-existing conditions, and my x-rays don't look great, but I just keep going anyway. So the point is that you can get far more balanced than you are. You can get much stronger, you can get much more flexible, and you can have much less stress and feeling of concern and worry than you have. And you have all the tools available in your own body to do all these things. We have such a wonderful body and such a wonderful brain. You just need to know how to do it. That's what I've found, and that's why I teach. And I love to teach. I love to see the light bulb go off in people's minds and eyes, because, and I can tell you, I was telling Olive that the first class I taught at Shipley long ago, 22 years ago, this one lady came in and she was 96 and everybody else was in their 60s and 70s and 80s, and she came in the least balanced, so I called it balance aerobics at the time, and taught a 10-week class 3 times a week and asked everybody, of course, to do it at home every single day. And she did. She felt that she did not want to be a burden to her daughter. And so she came in holding on to everything, and I thought she was going to fall on her face. And 10 weeks later, she had worked so hard, even though she had a lot of pre-existing conditions and was 96, she walked out in beautiful core alignment with a cane. And her daughter was very grateful.
Wow.
And I just tell you, it works, and these are just normal people in our town and on the peninsula. We're not, Olympic stars. We're not Simone Biles. Just our bodies have so much potential, and our brains too. So I just encourage you, and I hope that you exercise every single day for the rest of your life.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming in. What I learned today is exercise snacks, and I think I'm going to try that.
Good.